Hi, I'm Hub Arkush along with senior editor Eric Edholm for Pro Football Weekly as we continue our series of 32 NFL team training camp reports. And Eric, one of the teams I'm really excited about is the Kansas City Chiefs. 10-6 2 years ago, unbelievable injuries early last year, and they've had some key offseason additions that figure to make them even more competitive.
Yeah, I mean, they're a really intriguing team, like you said, Hub, and they were 7-9 amid all this chaos last year, fired head coach. But Romeo Crennel is there to settle down, and he added a couple of key pieces I think that will help. Eric Winston, to me, it was just a gift from the heavens. I mean, coming from the Texans, I think he'll step in and solidify that offensive line. Peyton Hillis, I think he's going to be a perfect tandem with Jamaal Charles, kind of the recharged backfield there, with Charles coming off the injury. And on defense, they got Stanford Routt. I know he was kind of a bust in Oakland, but I think he could rebound here. And then Dontari Poe, I think the nose tackle will make a difference on that D-line.
Now, as this team goes to training camp, we want to talk about offense first. Where will the biggest focus be? We know Matt Castle almost there a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Offensively, what is this team looking at in training camp as their main concern?
I mean, clearly keeping him healthy and having guys like Moyaki and Charles back will help. But there were some darn ugly numbers from last year. 31st in points scored, 28th in yards per carry. They want to run the football. Dead last in the red zone. So identifying one of those big targets, whether it's Moyaki, Jonathan Baldwin, the first rounder, you've got Bo there. I mean, they've got some players, but they've got to step up and give Castle the targets he needs.
Now, defensively, obviously, just getting healthy is going to help this team quite a bit. But in addition to that, there were some holes to plug. Where will they focus there on in training camp?
Yeah, and then losing Brandon Carr, too. He was such a pivotal part of that secondary that made a lot of interceptions without Eric Berry in the lineup. Berry comes back, they lose Carr, but I think the secondary has a strength in numbers. Guys like Daquan Menzie, the 4th-round pick. Other players could step up. It's still a young group, but that D-line has to improve. I think that's been a weakness considering all the high draft picks they've used there in the past.
Now, Eric, what could make this team special is A, getting healthy, and then B, if a couple of these young veterans that they've drafted the last few years step up, who are the key players you're looking at who could make a difference for him this year?
Well, we mentioned Baldwin. I think he's got a learning curve. I think he could be better in the secondary. Kendrick Lewis doesn't get as much praise as Berry, but I think he's a player to watch on the rise. A couple guys on the offensive line, Rodney Hudson at center, John Asamoah at guard. They could be stepping up. And I really like Justin Houston. I mean, coming out of college, he had his questions, but as a pure pass rusher, if they keep his assignment simple, he showed at the end of the year he could be special.
Now, of course, every team goes to camp with players on the bubble. Their fans get upset, but they try and make the ball club. Who are the key guys on the bubble for the Chiefs?
No huge names, but I think if Brady Quinn can't beat out Ricky Stanz as the backup, he'd be gone. Maybe Charlie Weiss can find a use for him somewhere. Donald Washington, a former 4th-round pick, they've got those numbers in the secondary. Not sure about him. And I think Ryan Lilja has to win a starting job. Now, guys like Glenn Dorsey and Tyson Jackson, they're not going to be cut. They're probably going to be starting, but they're both entering huge seasons on that defensive line.
Chiefs are a fascinating team to watch. We'll have our eye on them throughout training camp, as well as all 32 NFL teams. And for those training camp opening reports, stay right where you're at ProFootballWeekly.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.